Do yourself a favor and stay quiet about it. The words hang in the air between us like cigarette smoke. My boss, Derek Palmer, leans back in his leather chair, fingers steepled, expression carefully neutral. We're in his corner office on the 14th floor, the door closed, the blinds angled just enough to block anyone from seeing in. My hands are trembling in my lap, hidden beneath the polished mahogany conference table. I came here expecting support, maybe even outrage on my behalf. Instead, I'm getting advice that feels more like a threat. The fluorescent lights hum overhead. Outside, the city sprawls beneath us, oblivious. Derek's eyes are kind but firm, like a parent explaining why vegetables are important. But this isn't about vegetables. This is about what happened yesterday in the supply room with Vincent Carver, the senior director everyone loves. This is about words that made my skin crawl and hands that lingered too long. My chest feels tight. I can't breathe properly. But I nod anyway because I don't know what else to do. You're a smart woman, Kara. Derek continues, his voice smooth and practiced. You know how these things work. Making a formal complaint right now, with the merger happening, with your promotion review coming up, it's not strategic. He says the word strategic like it's wisdom, not cowardice. Like he's helping me instead of silencing me. My throat burns. I want to scream that strategy shouldn't matter when someone crosses a line, but the words stick somewhere between my brain and my mouth. Derek shifts forward, elbows on his desk now, lowering his voice to that confidential tone managers use when they're about to say something they shouldn't. Vincent's been under a lot of stress. I'm not excusing anything, but timing matters. You report this now, and you become that person. You know what I mean. I do know what he means. I become the troublemaker, the dramatic one, the woman who couldn't handle workplace banter. Never mind that it wasn't banter. Never mind that Vincent's breath on my neck made me want to disappear. My name is Kara Wells. I'm 33 years old, and until this moment, I believed in doing things the right way. I've worked at Thornton Financial for 9 years, climbing from junior analyst to senior project manager through nothing but competence and patience. I don't gossip. I don't create drama. I show up early, stay late, and deliver results that speak for themselves. My performance reviews are always excellent. My colleagues respect me. At least I thought they did. I'm the person who remembers birthdays, who organizes the holiday potluck, who volunteers to train new hires. I've built a reputation for being steady, reliable, and professional, which is exactly why Derek thinks I'll do what he's asking. Why he thinks I'll absorb this incident like it's just another workplace inconvenience, like a broken copier or a delayed paycheck. He's counting on my track record of being reasonable. But something shifted the moment he told me to stay quiet. Something inside me that can't be unshifted. It didn't start with yesterday's incident. That was just when everything crystallized into something I couldn't ignore anymore. Vincent Carver joined Thornton Financial 8 months ago as Senior Director of Client Relations. He's 47, charming in that practiced way that powerful men often are, with salt and pepper hair and expensive suits. From day one, people loved him. He remembered names, asked about families, brought bagels on Fridays. I liked him too initially, but gradually I noticed things. Comments about my appearance that lasted a beat too long. Jokes with double meanings, always delivered while scanning the room to see who was listening. Meetings that suddenly required closed doors when it was just the two of us. Each time, I told myself not to overreact. Maybe I was being sensitive. Maybe this was just his personality. Maybe I should feel flattered that someone at his level paid attention to me. I swallowed every uncomfortable moment and smiled through them all. The shift happened 3 weeks ago when I finally asked him to stop. We were in the break room, and he'd made another comment about how I looked in a particular dress. The words were complimentary on the surface, but the tone wasn't. I took a breath and said quietly, "Vincent, I'd appreciate if we kept things professional." He smiled, not embarrassed, not apologetic, just smiled like I'd said something amusing. Of course, Kara. I didn't mean anything by it. But his eyes said something different. After that day, everything changed. The casual distance we'd maintained vanished. Suddenly, my calendar filled with meetings I never requested. He'd appear at my desk with questions that could have been emails. He'd position himself too close in the elevator, in the corridor, in the conference room. The tension intensified instead of stopping, and I realized with growing dread that my polite boundary hadn't protected me. It had marked me as someone who noticed, someone who might eventually complain, someone who needed to be managed. Yesterday, it crossed a line I couldn't pretend away. I was in the supply room on the 3rd floor, gathering materials for a presentation. It was late afternoon, most people already gone for the day. I heard the door open behind me, but didn't turn around immediately. Then I heard his voice. Working late again? You're dedicated. I like that about you. I turned, and Vincent was blocking the doorway. My stomach dropped. The room suddenly felt very small. He stepped inside, letting the door close behind him. You know, Kara, I've been thinking. You and I could work very well together, on a lot of different levels. The way he said it made everything clear. This wasn't about work. He moved closer, and I backed up until I hit the shelves. He didn't touch me, but he didn't need to. His presence was enough. His words were enough. You're tense, he said softly, too close. You don't need to be. My body reacted before my mind did. Heat flooded my face. My hands went cold. Nausea twisted my stomach. I don't remember what I said to get out of that room. Some excuse about a meeting, maybe. My legs felt disconnected from my body as I walked back to my desk. I grabbed my purse and left the building without telling anyone. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying the moment, wondering if I'd misunderstood, knowing I hadn't. By morning, I'd convinced myself that staying silent would be worse than speaking up. So I followed the policy. I documented everything in careful, unemotional language. I listed dates, times, witnesses to the earlier comments. I kept my personal feelings out of it. I attached the company's harassment policy for reference. Then I requested a meeting with Derek, my direct supervisor for the past 4 years. I trusted him. I thought he'd be shocked, angry on my behalf, ready to take action. Instead, I got advice on strategy. I got told to stay quiet, and sitting here now, watching him look at me with that patient expression, I understand that the company isn't confused about what happened. The company has already chosen a side. I need to think about this, I finally managed to say, my voice steadier than I feel. Derek nods, satisfied. Take the weekend. Get some perspective. Monday, we'll talk about your upcoming projects. There's a big opportunity coming up that I think you'd be perfect for. The carrot dangled after the stick. Behave and good things will come. I leave his office and walk through the maze of cubicles with my head high, even though I feel like I'm drowning. At my desk, I open my laptop and stare at the screen without seeing it. Around me, the office continues its normal rhythm. Phones ring. Keyboards click. Someone laughs at a joke near the water cooler. Vincent Carver walks past my desk, and he has the audacity to smile at me. Have a good weekend, Kara. My hands clench around my mouse, but I force myself to smile back. You too. He continues toward Derek's office, and through the glass walls, I watch them shake hands, watch them laugh about something, watch them exist in a world where yesterday didn't matter. I go home and sit in the silence of my apartment for a long time. My phone buzzes with messages from friends about weekend plans, but I don't answer. Instead, I open my laptop and create a new document. I title it Timeline and begin writing everything down. Not just yesterday's incident. Everything. Every comment Vincent made. Every time he stood too close. Every meeting that felt wrong. I include dates, times, locations. I name witnesses who were present for the public comments. I describe the supply room incident in detail that makes my hands shake, but I don't stop typing. When I finish, it's 3 pages long. 3 pages of behavior that individually might seem minor, but together, they form a pattern that's undeniable. I save the document with that day's date and print 2 copies. One goes in a folder in my desk drawer. The other goes into a fireproof box in my closet. This isn't revenge. This is insurance. Because Derek told me to stay quiet and I agreed to his face. But I didn't agree in my mind. Monday morning comes too fast and too slow. I arrive at the office at my usual time, armed with coffee and the kind of professional smile I've perfected over 9 years. Derek catches me at my desk before I've even logged in. "Feeling better?" he asks, and I know he means did I come to my senses about staying quiet. "Much better. Thank you for the advice Friday." His shoulders relax. "Good. I knew you'd see reason. Now, about that opportunity one mentioned. We're pitching to the Ashford account next month. It's a huge deal, and I want you leading the team. It's the kind of project that could make my career, the kind I've been working toward for years, and it's being offered now in this moment as a reward for my silence. I accept it with gratitude that tastes like ashes in my mouth. The rest of the week unfolds normally. I attend meetings, respond to emails, collaborate with colleagues who have no idea what happened. Vincent continues his pattern of appearing near me more than necessary, but he's careful now. No more comments. No more closed doors. Just proximity. 2 weeks after my meeting with Derek, I receive an email that makes my blood run cold. It's from Human Resources, marked urgent, requesting a meeting. My hands tremble as I click to confirm a time. Did someone else complain? Did Vincent escalate something? I spend the night before the meeting barely sleeping, running through possibilities. The next morning, I'm escorted to HR by a woman named Brenda Cole, who's worked here longer than I have. She's professional, but not warm. There's another person in the room, a man I don't recognize who introduces himself as Wesley Hunt from legal. My stomach drops. "We've received concerning information about workplace conduct," Brenda begins, opening a folder. My heart races. They know. Someone else must have complained. But then she says something that stops my world. "We need to ask you about your interactions with Vincent Carver." For one wild moment, I think Derek actually reported what I told him. Then Brenda continues, "Mr. Carver has expressed concerns about inappropriate attention from you." The room tilts. "What?" My voice comes out strangled. "He's filed a complaint stating that you've made him uncomfortable with persistent personal questions and attempts to arrange meetings outside work hours." I can't breathe. This isn't real. This can't be happening. That's not true. None of that is true. Wesley Hunt leans forward. "We take all complaints seriously. We need to hear your side." My side. Where do I even start? I think about the document on my laptop, the timeline I created. But Derek's voice echoes in my head. "Stay quiet. If I defend myself now, I'll have to reveal everything. And I'll be proving Derek right about becoming that person. I've never behaved inappropriately with Mr. Carver or anyone else." I say carefully, "Our interactions have been purely professional." Brenda makes a note. "He mentioned that you've seemed upset recently, that you've been cold toward him since he rejected your advances." The lie is so perfectly constructed that I almost admire it. He's reframing every moment I tried to create distance as evidence of my wounded feelings. He's weaponizing my discomfort. The investigation concludes 4 days later with an email that feels like a punch to the gut. After thorough review, we find insufficient evidence to support Mr. Carver's complaint. However, we encourage both parties to maintain professional boundaries going forward. Professional boundaries, as if the problem was mutual, as if we're equally responsible for whatever tension exists. The email contradicts the company's own policy about taking harassment seriously, about protecting complainants. But I print it anyway and add it to my growing folder. Because insufficient evidence isn't the same as dismissing the complaint entirely. It's a warning shot, a note in my file that will always exist. I'm called into Derek's office that afternoon. I heard about the HR situation, he says, and his tone has shifted from paternal to disappointed. This is exactly what I was trying to help you avoid. I stare at him. I didn't file anything. He did. Derek waves this away like it's irrelevant. Perception is reality, Kara. And right now, the perception is that there's drama between you two. That's not good for anyone. Over the following weeks, things shift in ways that are hard to prove but impossible to miss. The Ashford project I was supposed to lead gets reassigned to another manager. Workload balancing, Derek explains, but we both know that's not true. My invitations to senior meetings become less frequent. When I do attend, my suggestions seem to evaporate into the air, acknowledged with nods but never implemented. My cubicle neighbor, a woman named Priya who's been friendly for years, stops making eye contact. In the break room one day, conversation dies when I enter. This is retaliation, but it's the subtle kind. The kind that leaves no fingerprints. No one's yelling at me or denying me promotions outright. They're just making me irrelevant, making me disappear without actually firing me. Vincent, meanwhile, seems more confident than ever. I watch him charm clients, mentor junior staff, get praised in company-wide emails. He's untouchable, and the message is clear: he matters more than I do. My quarterly review is scheduled for late October. I prepare for it like I'm preparing for battle, documenting every project I've completed, every metric I've exceeded. Derek delivers my review with that same calm expression he wore when he told me to stay quiet. "You're not quite leadership material anymore," he says, scanning the document like he's reading stock prices. "Your performance has been adequate, but you've lost some of the initiative we used to see from you." Adequate. After 9 years of excellent reviews, I'm suddenly adequate. I've delivered every project on time and under budget, I say, keeping my voice level. The metrics don't reflect that evaluation. Derek sets down the paper. Leadership isn't just about metrics, Kara. It's about judgment. And frankly, the situation with Vincent showed poor judgment. There it is. The thing we've been dancing around for weeks. I showed poor judgment. My voice rises despite my best efforts. Derek's expression hardens. I gave you advice, and you clearly didn't take it. Now we're all dealing with the aftermath. I leave his office, shaking with rage I can't express. But as I walk back to my desk, something crystallizes in my mind. They think they've contained this. They think I'm beaten. That night, I open my laptop and draft an email to Derek. I keep it professional, thanking him for the review feedback and requesting clarification on the specific concerns about my judgment. I mention that I want to improve and would appreciate concrete examples. He responds the next morning. The email is short but devastating in its stupidity. As we discussed, your handling of the Vincent situation showed lack of discretion. I advised you to stay quiet about unsubstantiated concerns, and instead, the matter escalated to HR. This kind of drama isn't what we need from leadership candidates. Let's move forward professionally. I read it 3 times, my heart pounding harder each time. He put it in writing. He documented that he told me to stay quiet about harassment concerns. He admitted he dismissed my report as unsubstantiated without investigation, and he called it drama. I forward the email to my personal account, then print 2 copies, one for my home folder, one for my work folder. Derek Palmer just made the biggest mistake of his career, and he doesn't even know it yet. I stopped pushing after that. I stopped correcting people in meetings when they take credit for my ideas. I stopped volunteering for extra projects. I become exactly what they want me to be. Quiet, compliant, forgettable. And something interesting happens. They relax. Vincent stops watching me so carefully. Derek stops the careful conversations about my attitude. HR closes my file without further review. They think they've won. They think I've been properly managed. But I'm not quiet. I'm documenting every dismissed idea, every reassigned project, every meeting I'm suddenly not invited to. I note dates, times, and witnesses. I save emails that demonstrate the change in how I'm treated. I create a timeline that maps my deteriorating work situation directly to the moment I reported Vincent's behavior. During this time, I also do something else. I request copies of company policies through the standard compliance channel. Harassment policies, investigation procedures, retaliation guidelines. It's a normal request that any employee can make. No one questions it. No one mentions it to Derek. And nobody warns Vincent. In January, Thornton Financial announces a significant leadership change. The company is bringing in a new chief operating officer named Veronica Pierce, a woman with a reputation for cleaning up toxic workplace cultures. The announcement mentions that she'll be reviewing operational procedures and past HR cases as part of her integration. I don't contact her. I don't put my name on anything. But I do make sure that certain information finds its way to her desk through official channels. 3 weeks after she starts, I receive a meeting request. Not from Veronica directly, but from her assistant. The subject line reads, "Follow-up review of closed HR cases." My heart races as I walk to her office. This time the door is open. Sunlight streams through floor-to-ceiling windows. Veronica sits at a clean desk with a single folder in front of her. "Ms. Wells," she says, standing to shake my hand. "Thank you for coming. I'm conducting routine reviews of HR cases from the past year, and I noticed some inconsistencies in how yours was handled." I sit carefully. Inconsistencies. She opens the folder. "You filed a complaint about hostile work environment and harassment, but the resolution mentions a counter-complaint that appears to have redirected the investigation." "That's correct," I say, choosing my words carefully. "Mr. Carver filed a complaint that shifted focus away from the original concerns." Veronica makes a note. "And your direct supervisor was aware of the initial concerns before you filed with HR." This is the moment. The door opening. Yes. I met with Derek Palmer before making any formal report. He advised me not to file. Her pen stops moving. She looks up. "He advised you not to report harassment." I reach into my bag and pull out a folder. Inside is everything. My original timeline, the HR email, Derek's email about staying quiet, documentation of every project, reassignment, and meeting exclusion since then. He told me to stay quiet about it. Those were his exact words. Then, when Mr. Carver filed against me, my performance reviews changed. My projects were reassigned. I have documentation of everything. I slide the folder across her desk. My hands are steady now. Veronica opens it and begins reading. The silence stretches for several minutes. Finally, she looks up. "Ms. Wells, I'm going to need to conduct a thorough investigation that will include interviews with multiple parties. Are you prepared for that?" I nod. Yes. Over the next 2 weeks, the office atmosphere shifts in ways that are hard to describe. People are being called into meetings with Veronica's office. Derek starts holding emergency calls behind closed doors. Vincent's usual confidence seems slightly cracked. I maintain my routine. I come in, do my work, leave on time. But I notice things. Derek calling meetings he doesn't need, explaining decisions no one questioned. Vincent staying late more often, his office light visible from the parking lot. They're worried, I realize. They know something is happening, but not what. And their arrogance is making them sloppy. One morning, I arrive to find Derek standing at the elevator, talking urgently on his phone. "I don't know how this got reopened," he's saying. "I handled it months ago. Kara agreed to. Yes, I'm sure." He sees me, and his face goes white. I smile and say good morning like I heard nothing. But later that day, I receive a CC email where Derek is explaining to Wesley Hunt that the well situation was resolved with mutual agreement. In his explanation, he contradicts his earlier email to me. He claims he investigated thoroughly. He says he found no evidence to support concerns about Vincent. I forward the contradiction to my personal email. Then I send both of Derek's emails, the one where he told me to stay quiet and the new one where he claims he investigated, to Veronica's assistant with a simple note, "Additional documentation for your review." The response comes within an hour. "Received. Thank you." 2 days later, the announcement comes via company-wide email just before lunch. Effective immediately, Derek Palmer has been placed on administrative leave pending an internal investigation into leadership practices and policy compliance. Vincent Carver has also been placed on leave pending investigation into workplace conduct violations. The email continues, outlining the company's commitment to a harassment-free workplace and encouraging anyone with concerns to contact HR directly. My desk phone starts ringing immediately. Colleagues messaging to ask if I know what happened. If this is related to the situation from months ago, I don't answer most of them. But I do respond to one message from Priya, who stopped talking to me weeks ago. "I'm sorry I avoided you. I was scared." The investigation concludes in March with results that feel both vindicating and exhausting. Vincent Carver is terminated for violation of the company's harassment policy and code of conduct. The investigation revealed multiple complaints from other women that had been dismissed or minimized by Derek. Derek Palmer is also terminated for failure to properly report and investigate harassment claims, for retaliating against a complainant, and for what the report calls deliberately undermining company policy to protect certain employees. The official statement is careful and legal, but the message is clear. Veronica Pierce calls me personally to deliver the news. "Ms. Wells, I want you to know that what you documented was crucial to this outcome. Your attention to detail and the timeline you maintained allowed us to see patterns we wouldn't have otherwise noticed. I feel something release in my chest. Thank you for actually investigating." She's quiet for a moment. "I'm sorry you had to document everything yourself. That shouldn't have been necessary." She offers me Derek's old position. I decline, not because I don't want it, but because staying at Thornton feels impossible now. Instead, I accept an offer from Morrison and Associates, a competing firm that reached out after word spread through industry channels about what happened. The position is clear from the start. Senior Director of Project Operations, reporting directly to the executive team, with explicit authority over workplace culture initiatives. No ambiguity, no whispers, no history. My first day at the new firm, I'm introduced at an all-staff meeting. The CEO mentions my background and my commitment to professional environments. People applaud. Later, at my new desk with my new title on the nameplate, I receive an email from a woman I don't know. The subject line reads, "Thank you. I heard about what happened at Thornton," she writes. "I've been dealing with something similar at my company. I didn't know what to do, but reading about your situation gave me the courage to document everything and report it properly. My company investigated and the person was fired. I wanted you to know that your experience helped someone else." I read it 3 times. Then I save it in a folder labeled "Why It Mattered." 6 months after leaving Thornton Financial, I'm asked to speak on a panel about workplace harassment policies at an industry conference. I almost decline. Talking about what happened still feels raw. But then I remember the email from the stranger. I remember every woman who stayed quiet because they thought they had to. So I accept. When the moderator asks how companies can better support victims, I don't give a corporate answer. They need to believe people the first time, I say. They need to investigate instead of manage. And they need to understand that telling someone to stay quiet isn't advice. It's a choice that reveals exactly who they're protecting. After the panel, 3 women approach me with their own stories. Stories about being told to let it go, to think about the team, to stay quiet. I give them the same advice I wish someone had given me. Document everything. Trust your gut. And remember that silence doesn't protect you. It protects them. I never spoke to Derek Palmer again after his termination, but I heard he struggled to find another position. Word travels in our industry. Vincent Carver moved to another state. And me? I moved forward. Because I learned that staying quiet doesn't keep you safe. Speaking up, documenting, refusing to disappear, that's what kept me safe. That's what exposed them. And sometimes the best revenge isn't noise. It's precision.